For over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both diehard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
You've heard about rugby, the hard hits, the whole no pads thing, but rugby is more than that. It's this, the whole day, a whole culture.
Well, the fans bring the energy, so we better bring it too.
Every play, every match, for the city we call home.
This is rugby, and we are Nola Gold.
Max Durbus Realtors has been providing commercial and industrial real estate services to its clients for nearly 100 years. Since 1934, Max Durbus has been locally owned and operated throughout the greater New Orleans area, including the North Shore, Hammond, and even the Mississippi Gulf Coast and beyond. We focus on your commercial real estate needs so you don't have to. More information is available at 504-733-4555.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. I cannot wait for this show. And one of the reasons is we have an Olympian. Yeah, we've had some before. Karl Malone was on the Dream Team, but we've got one going to Paris this fall. And I can't wait because she is a pro beach volleyball player. Kristen Nuss, part of the great team with Taryn Cloth, and they are number 2 in the world right now. And they're young, just 3 years out of college, and they're going to be in the Olympics. They're number 1 in the United States. So that's going to happen. She's going to be on the show. But let's get to basketball right off the bat, because last night we all saw it. UConn won their second straight title. That's only happened. Florida did it, like, I don't know, in 2007, 17 years ago. Duke did it in 91, 92. Before that, it was UCLA in the early 70s, and they had a few in a row. But UConn has put themselves in a status, and I'm going to tell you this, they've won 6 titles in the last 25 years. That's getting on dynasty status, so congrats to them. South Carolina in basketball, how about them? They've only lost 1 game in the last 2 years, and that was to Caitlin Clark's Iowa team last year. Well, Caitlin Clark, who's dynamite, they were up 21-5 in this game. She's been great all year. Well, they played defense and they knocked her out. She is gone, and South Carolina gets their second title in 3 years under Dawn Staley. They are a juggernaut. 1 loss in 2 seasons. That's crazy. Speaking of women's basketball, they got one in our backyard that's one of the greatest of all time, Simone Augustus. She is now going to the Basketball Hall of Fame inductee 2024. She was the first overall pick in the draft to the Lynx, right? Well, LSU, here's your fun fact of the day. They're the only school in NCAA history that have the #1 overall pick in 4 different major sports. NBA, it's Shaquille O'Neal. How about that? We also had Joe Burrow in the NFL just a few years ago. And last year, Paul Skeens was the overall #1. We had the 1 and 2 along with Dylan Cruz in the second pick. But they've also had Ben McDonald in the 80s. Remember Big Ben? At LSU, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the Orioles. They also had Ben Simmons with the #1 overall pick. He was a Rookie of the Year with Philly. And then you had Billy Cannon, Heisman Trophy winner in 1960. He was the #1 overall pick. And also Jamarcus Russell, who was a little bit of a bomb in the NFL. He was #1 overall. And then the guy named Eric Hetzel. Moving forward, the Pelicans, hey, they finally got a win, a much needed one. They lost 5 of 6 at home. The drop from 4th down to 7th tied. So there you go. That's the remaining schedule. 4 games starting tonight. They have 4 in the next 6 days. So hopefully they can get down to the 6, maybe even 5 seed, and so do some damage. Also, it's going to be a great one because we also have, hey, by the way, the Masters is starting up this weekend. And then the Zurich Classic here in New Orleans will be here in 2 weeks. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be 2 weeks from now. It starts on the Thursday coming up. But I got a great show for you. We have a couple Tulane guys, the starting second baseman Connor Rasmussen, and also we're going to go talk about some business side of Tulane with my man Justin Berger. So here, coming up there on Primetime Sports. See you then. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports, and it was just a few weeks ago we had our first beach volleyball guest. That was just college. Now we're going to the big leagues, and we got some of the best in the entire world, not just the United States. They're the #1 team from the United States, #2 in the world, and we've got half of that team with us right here, and guess what? She's from New Orleans, Mount Carmel High School, St. Dominic, or what was it, St. Dominic?
St. Dominic.
And then to LSU, and they put LSU on the map. Her name is Kristen Nuss. Her partner is from South Dakota, believe it or not, and she is Taryn Cloth. And here we are right now. Welcome to the show.
And welcome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I got to finish doing some intros because I didn't give you justice. You're the MVP of the entire AVP League, the Association of Volleyball Professionals, which is unbelievable. Let me tell you all real quick. I went back in 2007, and I watched that league, and it was unbelievable. I went for a few weeks with my friend Dave Stokes. He lived in Colorado, he still does, and he trained some of the girls that were like the top ones in the whole event. And I got to tell you, I got hooked. And you know, the men and the women play at the same time. It's not like women's basketball where they don't play, you know, the same venue the same day. It's all together, and it's a great event. And if you ever go, you'll see the same thing. But this group right here, I'm talking about. This is only their 4th year, really their 3rd and a half. And Taryn, who's not here right now, she's 6'4". She is the Offensive Player of the Year in the whole league. I'm talking about this is world. This is in the United States. And Kristen right here is the MVP of the entire league and the Defensive Player of the Year. So I got that out of the way. And now they're going to the Olympics to represent the United States, and they'll be the #1 team going over there. There's a Brazilian squad that is #1 in the world right now, so we'll see if they can take gold. Whatever they place, or if they don't, they're going to represent the United States and the girls from New Orleans. So there's your intro.
Wow, I appreciate that. You crushed it. That was amazing.
I was an agent at one time. I'm a little out of practice, so I like talking about others. So
no, that was good, and I'm glad you got to see an AVP event. I feel like so many people, they go to an event and they're like, "What is this? Is amazing," and they keep coming back. So the more people
that's how it
get
happens.
To events, yeah.
I've been the one in New Orleans when I moved back. I was in Atlanta before that, and I didn't live too far from where that event is, if it's still in the same place in Midtown. But it's just so much fun to get out there. What got you into the beach side of it? Because I don't know when you grew up, the beach is as big as it is now. I'm sure it was getting there.
It definitely was not. I mean, when I was still playing juniors, we were struggling to find teams to just make a tournament. We were struggling. And now juniors events at White Sands, at Coconut Beach, there's so many teams that are out there playing. The tournaments get sold out, which is so nice. So yeah, when I was playing, beach volleyball is not very popular, but I did play indoor volleyball.
Sure, which is 6, right?
Yes,
6 on 6,
six on
which
six.
is what we all kind of grew up with
Yep.
for over a certain age, like myself. I just remember the first time I saw the 2-on-2s, and Karch Karai, who's like the legend in this business. I mean, if you talk about somebody that did it back in the 80s
yeah.
and maybe even the 70s, I saw him. He was at the end of his career, but he was still great. But the athleticism, they had some ex-basketball players. They had one from Florida, Dahlman or something like that. His name escapes me. The 6'9" sitting on the men's side. But
right now, there's a Chase Budinger. He used to play.
Chase Budinger from Arizona.
Yeah, he used to play basketball.
And he was a first-round pick in the NBA.
Yeah.
I know Chase well. But the league is exploding, and when I was going to the event back in 07, it was Shaq's agent at the time who had left Shaq, and Shaq had got another agent. He was the chairman, what do you call it, the guy that runs the league?
Yeah, probably the CEO or
the guy that ran the league, and I thought he did some great things. He had some great sponsorships, but to see this explode and see how far it's come, the Americans were dominating most of the Olympics since they put it in probably about 30 years ago. Kerry Walsh and Missy May Trainer, they won 3 straight. So when you go to the Olympics and you see the history of this, and that starts in a few months, what are your thoughts that you're going to the Olympics?
Yeah, I think one, it's still, I don't know when it'll actually hit me that we're actually going. I think Taryn and I talk about it. It may just be whenever we're playing our first game. But yeah, it's still just crazy to think about. But as far as just how dominant the Americans have been in the past, especially on the women's side in beach volleyball, I think it's just a lot of pride just getting the opportunity to wear and represent those 3 letters across our chest. That's just something we're super proud of and could not be just more prideful of it. And that's just something we hope whenever we go and compete, we can show the rest of the world, and especially the United States, everyone who's watching, that we are putting just everything we have into it to go represent and put on for what I think is the best country.
And you're in one of the greatest cities in the world. Some might say the greatest. I mean, and so it's not like going to Sarajevo or something. If you go in Paris, everybody recognizes that. I mean, everybody watches the Olympics, but there's something special about being right in the middle of that part. Have you thought about any of that, like your place in history and a place like that?
We've played in Paris. This will be our 3rd time going to Paris, but the Olympic setup, we get to play in the Eiffel Tower Stadium.
Oh,
which
my goodness.
I'm not sure if you've seen the venue, what the venue looks like for beach volleyball. I may be a little biased, but I definitely think we have the best venue of
Well, tell
the
me, I've been to the
Olympics.
Eiffel Tower, so tell me where it
Beach
is.
volleyball is right underneath the Eiffel Tower. They're building courts literally right underneath. So the backdrop of there's going to be us playing beach volleyball, and in the background the giant Eiffel Tower, and it looks
How
absolutely
can it get
gorgeous.
any better than that? Seriously?
Yeah,
Unless you're playing on the water and you got the Statue of Liberty. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the obviously the iconic monuments that we have in this world.
Oh,
So
and it really is. There's so many. I feel like you hear so many things about it, and it's just you can set your expectations really high. But when we actually saw it in person, it took our breath away. It was way bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was actually one of the first times where it wasn't like a little underwhelming. It was more like, whoa, this is a really cool place.
every time anybody goes next to it, you just realize, oh my goodness, because you always see it a little from a distance, and you get up there and I've climbed the steps. I guess you can
Yep.
take an elevator, and that's
Yeah,
no easy
I took
feat.
the elevator.
I don't think I could do
didn't
it
climb
now.
the steps, but.
When did you get into this, like the beach part of it? Like how old were you?
I started sophomore year of high school, but really didn't get into it until junior year. It was actually, funny enough, there's a Slam and Jam tournament that all the local high schools do at Coconut Beach. It's like a 6-man tournament.
Okay.
And my friend had asked me, she called me up, she was like, hey, do you want to play? I was like, yeah, sure. We went out. Absolutely loved it. This was a 6-man tournament, but then
On sand?
on sand, yes.
okay.
But then the following day there was a doubles tournament, and that same friend asked me if I wanted to play in the doubles tournament, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I had so much fun playing the sand. Let's go do it. We got absolutely destroyed.
Right.
Like I don't even know if we got double digits because we were just so young. We had no idea what we were doing, but absolutely loved it. And since then, it's just the rest is history kind of thing.
Okay, so when you're growing up, you know, I know you weren't used to 2-on-2 at that point, right? But when you grow up, you play pickup. You can't always get 12 people. Like in basketball, if I got 3 or 4, if I got 4, like we got a game. So were you used to it all, kind of running around the court as far as just staying in your place when you have 6?
I never really played beach, so just in and itself playing on the surface of sand is different.
Harder move.
And in indoor volleyball, you never really go out and just play 4. You typically kind of have to play 6, or you don't really do pickup games, especially in high school. So as far as just the different number of people on the court, it was very different, but I really enjoyed it because you just have so much more impact on the game. You touch the ball every single time.
Every single play.
Whereas that's not the case sometimes if you have 6 people on the court.
Explain that, though, exactly, because I want you to tell people so when they watch the Olympics or follow you, when does the AVP season start?
The AVP season starts in middle of May.
So it's right around the corner. But talk about the different moves. Obviously, we know words like dig and strike, but tell people what that's about.
Yeah, so in beach volleyball, you really have to do all of the skills. You have to be able to pass. So in serve receive, there's only 2 people. One of the people is getting served, so you have to be able to pass, and then you have to be able to set the ball, or you can bump set or hand set. You'll find a lot of times in the Olympics, there's a lot of people will be hand setting now. Bump setting is kind of more of an old school route, so you'll see a lot of hand setting, and then just some sort of attack, a spike, a shot, whatever you want to call it. Those are kind of the offensive terminologies, and then you got the dig, and then
Dig's a defensive move, right?
dig is a defensive move. So yeah, hopefully I will be getting a lot of digs in Paris.
Well, I mean, it blows me away when you see somebody that's 6'4", 6'5", just spiking. All of a sudden, you see the girl just diving and pulling it out of the sand, and you got the defensive MVP in the entire, let's just call it the world, right? It is the AVP. It's not just the United States League. They got teams from all over the place. What makes you the best defensive player in that league? What skills do you have?
I think I have to give a lot of credit to Taryn. She, like you said, she's 6'4", so she does a great job of making her presence felt at the net, and that makes teams have to maybe shoot the ball a little higher than they're typically used to, and it gives me more time to just kind of run around behind her and get the ball up. And honestly, I think my 5'6" stature may help me on that
Closer
side
to
of
the
things.
ground, right. I didn't think about that, yeah.
Yeah, so just basically, and also just a lower center of gravity, so everything just easier to move, faster reaction times. So yeah, being 5'6" may have its small benefit or pro as opposed to what people may think not so much.
You're traveling around the world pretty much now, obviously, certainly all over the country when you play, but being from New Orleans, we're proud being from here. I know this. I left for 30 years, and being in DC was like the first place after college, and I just remember loving New Orleans and talking about New Orleans. And I know you love your own city too. We love people that love us. But the fact is that what's it like when you go other places and you tell people you're from New Orleans?
Oh, I am definitely a proud Louisianan, and we've actually been fortunate enough that we have had the support of our state. The Office of Tourism for Louisiana
Billy
helped us.
Nungesser
Yeah,
was-
Billy Nungesser.
Right.
They helped support us our first year, and then New Orleans and Company came in and helped us this past year. And being able to wear, they were our top sponsor. They were on our hats. Everyone got to see it. If they were at the event or if they were tuning in on the live stream, they saw New Orleans and Company or Louisiana on our hats, and that's just something, again,
I love it. You're representing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that does mean so much to me, because I think anyone from Louisiana, it is just a sense of pride that you just have for your state, and any time, whether you're competing in the state or across the world, you just want to go perform for your state.
And when you're out of the state or out of the country and you hear an accent, I'm just speaking for myself, you're from New Orleans, right? And it's an instant bond. And I'm not saying other cities don't have it. I'm not saying we're better than any other place, but we have more fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think New Orleans especially has its own unique vibe to it, and I don't think there's no way to really describe it other than I tell people you just have to come. You have to come experience it and be here.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, that's just so hard. I'm a big foodie, and I don't know. I haven't had crawfish yet this
year.
season. Yeah, this
But
year.
do you love crawfish?
Oh, I love
Okay,
crawfish.
yeah.
And I haven't had it yet this year, so maybe that's why I'm like, maybe I'll go crawfish.
So my 3 kids in Atlanta, one of them doesn't eat seafood, but the other 2, when they're like 4 and 5, I'd bring them home during the summer, or late spring, summer, and people would just watch them eat it. They just like they've been doing it for 40 years. And that's, if you love crawfish, I can't get enough, because if you don't do it fast, you're not going to get as much as you should.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, now, are we considering Taryn Cloth, your partner, 6'4", is she a native New Orleanian now that she's from South Dakota, which to me is also unusual for the sport?
Yeah, we say she's been adopted to the state of Louisiana. Obviously, she's still very much loyal to her South Dakota people, but she definitely has been adopted by the state, and she's a part of the family. So yeah, we've taken her. We claim her now.
Do we call them South Dakotans or South Dakotians like we do in Louisiana?
I think South Dakotans.
South Dakotans, okay.
Yeah.
As far as LSU, and I know that I saw something that you were narrating the other day. Is LSU had beach volleyball for 10 years? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
I think
saying?
this is the 11th year now.
Okay,
I
so
think
they're in
that
their
video
11th
was
year.
last year.
And you played for 4 there or 5?
4. I had 5, but including a
You had the
COVID
COVID year, right.
Yeah.
So where has it gone from the beginning, which is a little bit before you got there, right, to where it is now on the college scene?
Oh my goodness, LSU.
And where did we rank? Yeah.
Right, I think right now we're maybe like 10 or so, but has the best facility complex in the country, hands down. No other collegiate beach volleyball program has what the LSU team has.
Where is it exactly? Because I just went to a tennis match up there, and they didn't have where it is now when I went. So where is y'all's located?
It's actually at the old tennis courts.
Oh,
They
over
just
there on the
put
other
sand.
side. Okay.
Yes, right by the
That's where
LSU gymnastics practice facility.
I know well, yeah.
It's right over there, and LSU does their athletics top notch, and they did not disappoint with beach volleyball. I'm telling you, it is absolutely gorgeous, just state of the art. The locker rooms are right there. It really is. It's very nice, and we were spoiled. But that, like you said, it has grown. When I played my first 2 years, we were playing at a complex, actually funny enough, where I train now, called Mangoes. And that's actually where we played our first 2 seasons there. And then
What's Mangoes? What does that mean?
It's just an outdoor complex.
Oh, it just sounded like a daiquiri shop.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't Mangoes.
They do have some good ones as well, because it is a bar area, but it's a Mangoes outdoor.
It is
volleyball
LSU. We got to have a
complex.
bar nearby, right? As far as the Tigers when you were there, and I don't want you to be bashful here. No time to be bashful. Y'all were 36-0. You had another partner early on. Taryn was playing for Creighton, right? In Omaha, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all were 36-0, and you were like the 4-time MVP of something. I don't know. I don't think it's just the team. I think you were the league or whatever league you're in. Let's just say you were very good, and you were great with your other partner as well. But what made you and Taryn so special, and when did you realize it?
I think that was Taryn and I. We were just kind of friends off the court, and whenever it actually was in part due to COVID, because ended our season. She went home. I went home. I came back to New Orleans, and she was like sick of being in the cold, and she just called me up, and she was like, hey, can I come back down to Louisiana and train? Because again, she was sick of the cold, wanted to come back down, and we just started training. We didn't even know if we were going to have
I love
a
these
season.
shots of y'all. I mean,
Those
these are
some
great.
fun ones.
These are great. I mean, so when did you feel like y'all were going to be not just good but great?
I think it was during that COVID stretch when it was we didn't even know if we were going to have a season to come back to. We had no idea, and we just went to our then volunteer coach. He is now still our current coach, Drew Hamilton, and we were just like, we want to get insane, and we will listen to everything you say, whether it's nutrition, in the gym, on the court. He's like an all-encompassing coach, but we were just like, whatever you tell us, we will do. So it was actually that summerish before we went into that COVID year and had the 36-0 season. That is when we really put in the work, and that's when we were like, whoa, we may be able to do something with this after college.
You didn't know this until yesterday when I told you, but I had met you over the phone because my show couldn't be on the air because we talked to people like this. COVID wouldn't allow it, so I went to WWL, and I was with producing Bobby Hebert and the Tillier. I'd chime in some, but I was blown away then because you had just won your first tournament. They got in there. Let me tell you something real quick. You know how hard it is to win? There's so many great teams out there, and they went in their first tournament in New Orleans, of all places, at Coconut Beach, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And they won their first tournament. That's not the biggest, of course, but you won your first one, and then they're going around winning in Atlanta, winning all over the country, and then around the world. I mean, these girls got good quick. And I'm going to tell you something about girl volleyball players. They don't like the new kids on the block, okay? They've been around. Some of these girls have been playing in this league for 20-plus years, at least, because I knew some of them that are still playing when I went 17 years ago, and they were veterans then, like April Ross. But the fact is you got to picture this. All the girls train by beaches, right? Florida, California mostly. Some go up to Colorado and do some stuff, but you don't get anybody from South Dakota for sure, and very few, if any, from Louisiana. So when you come in and start winning, they don't probably take kindly to that. And I'm not telling you to talk about the inner circles of the cattiness there, but the fact is you kind of get looked sideways sometimes, don't you?
I think we definitely surprised some teams. I think some people were just like, who are these college girls? And then let alone who are these Louisiana girls? That's what we kind of got dubbed. We were the Louisiana or the LSU girls at the beginning. Yeah. And there definitely, it's not, there weren't people super like catty or anything, but it was just like, who are these new girls who are just like, they're coming in and winning. It's like, what is happening? And they're not training in California or Florida, and that's something when Taryn and I started out on this journey, I always said from the beginning I wanted to rewrite the script of what beach volleyball is, and you don't have to move to California to train. You can stay where you are from, and to me that means a lot to me, and the fact that we were able to now have kind of rewritten the script is kind of surreal and cool. That is one of the goals we kind of set out for, and it has kind of been accomplished. But yeah, so I guess just it all comes back to still being able to represent Louisiana is something very near and dear to my heart.
You know, you didn't believe me when I said this yesterday. I talked to you on the phone for the first time, one-on-one, right? And I said I was looking forward to this interview as much as any, and I meant that because, I mean, listen, I've had the second leading scorer in NBA history at the time, Karl Malone, on, and I love basketball. Everybody knows that's my favorite sport, but I love beach volleyball now, and I'm going to tell you, when the Olympics come on, it's the first thing I want to watch. And it's not just because the girls look good. I love to watch the men. It's phenomenal to see this athleticism and to see the way y'all go at it. Because I'll still love track and field and, of course, hoops and all the other stuff, swimming. But it's become an event that's almost must watch. And
I think it's like one of like the third most watched sport in the Summer Olympics. Yeah. Which, I mean, if we can keep that trend and maybe even push it to 1 or 2.
It's going to get better, trust me. I mean, it's only been around for 3 decades at most in the Olympics, and others have been around for over a century. So I'm sure it will. I've had a great time with you. I wish we could do an hour. I mean, but we have other guests, so I got to do this. We're going to sign 2 things for you, because we're going to do gold. Jay Johnson, right after he won the national championship, brought that for me. And we're putting gold on purple. And then you're going to be on Brian Kelly's ball right here. We got this ball for him last year. He's coming in a couple weeks, by the way.
On this side?
Anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. Put it in the front. Let people know who you are. But it's been great having you. We also give gifts. And let's see what I have here for you. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give one for your partner, too. So I was trying to find 2 purple. The purple's a new color. It's really lavender, but it's close enough.
It's a fun spring color.
So this is Task Performance, and I've been doing this for a decade, handing shirts out. And, you know, I tell people this all the time. Drew Brees and Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, when I first came back to New Orleans, I'm going to training camp, and they're all wearing this stuff. So I just went right to the place where they make them and said, hey, I want to be a part of y'all. And we've been that for now really 12 years if you got the radio side. Yeah. So I didn't have that color for Taryn, but please give her this one and tell her we're going to have her after y'all win that gold medal.
Yes,
you come back together.
Absolutely.
And let me give you a little restaurant gift certificate. You're a foodie, you say.
I am a foodie.
Well, this is one of my favorites. It's called Shays de la Shays. And I have Mr. John Steakhouse, which I'll probably give to my next guest because he likes red meat, I'm assuming. But the fact is this is a great place. It's on Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway. And you can also go to the regular de la Shays, which is more of a wine bar than a sit-down restaurant. But, Kristen, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, yes. Thank you very much.
We got a legend here, y'all. And pretty soon you're going to be noticing it yourself because she's going to be an everyday name after the Olympics. So, Kristen Nuss, Taryn, hey, good luck. I'm wishing you all the best. And hey, like I said, I haven't had a lot of other sports until this past 5 months. Swimming, golf, even tennis. And I've been bringing them. I had more fun with this, as much fun at least, as doing the Saints, Pels, and all the rest of stuff. So wish you the best of luck. Represent New Orleans and have some fun more. That's most important. Get the experience. Hey, coming up next, we're going to have some Tulane coming up. Later in the show, we're going to have Connor Rasmussen, who's batting .320 right now for the Wave, doing great things. He's transferred from East Carolina. He's second baseman, he hits in the 3-hole. But next, we got a guy that was at Tulane a few years ago, came back, got some more training somewhere else in Stony Brook up in New York, and now he's back as the Associate Athletic Director. We're going to talk about a lot of things right there with Justin Berger next on Primetime Sports.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my, oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the mid-city lanes, the home of rock and roll.
This is New Orleans. You've been to games. You've seen the hard hits, felt the ground shake. You've heard the fans erupt, and you've watched the team answer. You've seen sports in the city, but until you see NOLA Gold, you ain't seen a thing. Get your gold on.
Welcome back to Primetime Sports. What a treat that was, at least for me, and I hope it was for you to have Kristen Nuss on representing us in the Olympics coming up, and they have a great shot to win it. But we're going to go to the business side of sports. Last year, about this time actually, I had both LSU's NIL leader and Tulane's, Mike Arata at Tulane, Gordon McKern at LSU, and we learned a lot about how it works in the NIL. They do things differently. NIL is, of course, name, image, and likeness on how they pay the players today. That became legal in 21, and it's been growing. And at Tulane, it grew exponentially, particularly after they beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. And then it really grew, and now they're something special. But they have other things. They still have old-fashioned fundraising like they did in the old days back in 2020 around COVID time. And right now we have a guy that's a young guy that I would be surprised if he's not an athletic director one day. I fully believe he will be. His name is Justin Berger. He's from the Northeast in the New York, New Jersey area. He went to college at Stony Brook, then Albany, played some lacrosse up there, and then he started looking to his future. And he came to Tulane a few years ago, was in the administration, and then he left for a year to go to Stony Brook, getting some more seasoning, as we like to say here in Louisiana, and came back, and now he's the senior associate athletic director of development, et cetera, at the age of 30. And looking for great things. His name is Justin Berger. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Scott. It's good to be here.
Good to see you, man. So what made you decide to go from being on a college player, to darn good one, because I did my research, to want to get in the business side of athletics?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd answer it in two ways. So one, my upbringing. I mentioned to you yesterday when we spoke on the phone, my dad worked for the New York Giants for my entire life.
And I got a bunch of stuff backing that up. I sent my producer last night a bunch of Giants stuff with your dad in it.
Yeah.
And keep going.
That was what I was exposed to, right? That's really all I've ever known is being around athletes, being around sports, supporting. Wow, how about that? That's a great find.
That's a great dude, my man.
Yeah, I had some serious hair.
I love it.
That was freshman year, right? We're crossing here. I was a lacrosse player. I thought the hair was cool.
No, it is cool.
So that was before I transferred.
Don't sell yourself short. You might want to get that one back.
I appreciate that.
I got some other shots.
Oh, this is great. You guys did your research.
That's little Justin Berger right there.
Holy smokes, that's awesome.
We got some stuff like you went to Giants games. You got to see 2 Super Bowl champions with a Louisiana New Orleans quarterback right there, Eli Manning.
I sure did. He's the best.
And you beat Tom Brady twice. But go ahead, what you were saying about your.
No, so that's one part, right?
But your dad was part of the organization for 40 years.
Yeah,
right?
a long time, and the Giants organization is incredible and really welcomed me in. So I was a ball boy for a long time and grew up around sports, right? Was at training camp, was at all of the games, and really learned about all of the effort, everything that goes into supporting the athletes, supporting the coaches.
Did you have any idea how well that'd pay off later? And the reason I ask is one thing.
Yeah.
Tim Floyd, not many people know this, was a ball boy with the Saints, high school and college, right? And then he became one of the best coaches in our region. He's from Hattiesburg, but he coached UNO. But my point is, he said the same thing. He learned from doing it, giving them more responsibility, and he got to see the business side. Was it the same with you?
It wasn't something at the time that I ever thought would be a career or that I even sort of processed what I was learning. But certainly now, I mean, even today, I fall back on some of those values, right? You're 13, 14, 15 years old and learning how to work hard, right? Learning how to run around and always be helping the organization, always be helping the team, always be helping the athletes. Stay out of the way, but support everybody else. And those are still principles that are important to me today. So that's one part of how I sort of ended up doing this. The other is, as you mentioned, was my own student-athlete experience.
Sure.
I was a Division I lacrosse player at Stony Brook for a year, and then I transferred to Albany and was there for 4 years.
Go ahead. We know Stony Brook here, guys. Y'all remember this when LSU was predicted to be one of the contenders for the national championship.
Yeah.
Both Stony Brook had a surprise winning of their regional to come down to Baton Rouge. And I remember because I was in Atlanta and brought my kids. And then Stony Brook beat LSU 2 out of 3, which is what the Super Regional is, 2 out of 3, and then you go to the World Series. So we were well aware of Stony Brook. Yeah. And I know a lot because I have friends that went there. But continue with your story about
it's funny you mentioned that. So my freshman year that I spent at Stony Brook was 2012, was the year that Stony Brook went to the College World Series.
There, then.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I was friends with a lot of the baseball players and went to Omaha to support them and be there, and it was awesome. And it's funny, right? Did I know then that Stony Brook would come back to my life? No. Right. You fast forward a decade later, and I just spent 2 years as the Associate AD for Development at Stony Brook and thought a lot about, my own student-athlete experience when I was working there. But so I was a student-athlete at Albany and had a fantastic experience, got really involved in what is called Student-Athlete Advisory Committee. SAC. It's basically a student council for athletes. Yeah, that's right.
Sion James is part of that.
Yeah,
he's been on this show twice.
He's incredible.
He's an amazing
what
guy.
What a superstar with a bright future.
Tulane basketball player, by the way.
And he's as good as it gets.
These are your shots at Albany.
And it was a fantastic experience, right? And so again, without knowing what I was preparing for, I got to be part of America East SAC, and I got to be on NCAA Division I SAC and attend these national meetings, hear from leaders, learn about sort of how the sausage is made in college athletics.
Very cool.
And so I didn't know I was preparing for a career in college athletics, but that's what I was doing.
No doubt.
And so I finished undergrad. I actually, not to get too deep into it, but thought I was going to go to medical school.
Sure.
Come to that decision right then. Hey, I don't think that's the future for me. I don't think I really want to be a doctor.
I could see you as a doctor, though.
It's not. Yeah, well, maybe, but in a different life.
You can have more fun with this.
But that's not my passion. And so it was that sort of aha moment of what do I really love and what am I meant to be doing? And it really wasn't hard. It was, over the course of an hour, I said, this is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to work in college athletics. And like you mentioned, hopefully one day be an athletic director.
I'm assuming Troy Dannon hired you the first time. So I asked Troy, like I've done every athletic director. I've had certainly everyone in the southern part of this state, Tulane and LSU, UNO, whoever it's been. But I always ask him this because I want, and you're kind of telling us as we do this.
Yeah.
Like how does it, if someone's out there sitting out there wanting to be an athletic director one day, what's a blueprint? I know there's not one. It's like when I became an agent. There's not one blueprint to do it, circumstances, but you will be an athletic director. Let's make no bones about it. I'm not sure where it's going to be.
I appreciate that.
But you will be. But the fact is if you were talking to somebody at your early stage of your career, what would you tell them?
Well, it's a great question. You know, and it's funny, and hopefully we'll get to some of the fundraising talk.
100%.
But the best answer I can give, there's probably 100 different answers you can give to that, but it's just be great at what you do, right? Is add value, be great at what you do, and if you do a great job with what your responsibilities are today, doors will open for you. And that's
a great answer.
Right? We've talked about, you know, and I appreciate, I have an awesome job, and I'm 30 years old, and so far things have gone okay in my career, and I haven't, I mean, you know, at the same time, right, I think about this idea of like begin with the end in mind. Sure. So I do know where I aspire to go, but that's not something I'm thinking about every day, right? I'm not
you're doing your job as best you can do it, right?
Yeah, you do this really, really well, and then more opportunities will present themselves. But those opportunities don't present themselves to you if you don't do a really great job with what you're doing right now.
So you have a talent that I cannot dream of having, and that's asking people for money.
Yeah,
Which in your business you can do.
Yeah.
Going from Atlanta, working Fox and TNT, you didn't have to get your own sponsors.
Yeah.
You do here.
Yeah.
And it's just different. And I'm not good at asking for money. I love putting TV together, but how do you get that skill? Like, what makes you good at your job? Because that's part of it.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things, but bringing money into the school is a big deal.
It is, and it's a lot of fun. And so when you actually talk about fundraising, we talk about it as an art and a science.
Yeah.
But to get over that first initial, a lot of people have this initial hesitation or misunderstanding, I think, of what we do as fundraisers. And so what I've said, and I've said this to other people, I have never closed a gift from somebody who wasn't equally as excited about making that gift as I was about helping them make the gift.
That's very
right?
cool to say. Wow.
As you sort of progress and develop in your career and do more of the major gift fundraising work, you're working with people who are passionate about Tulane or passionate about Tulane athletics or whatever it might be, and all you're doing is helping them understand how they can make an impact, right? This is the things that you love, this is the part of your experience that meant the most, this is an opportunity that we have, a need that we have right now. I connect those two things, and now we all feel great about this. I help Tulane advance, you make an impact, I help you understand the impact you're making. And so I think if you have that understanding that people have this idea of like, oh, I couldn't reach into people's pockets. That's not what it is.
Right.
That is not what I do at all. Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I have never closed a gift from somebody who wasn't equally as excited about making the gift as I was of helping them make it. Right. That part. And so once you understand that, then you just experience helps, and then art and science, right? And we don't need to get into what those are. There's certainly a relationship aspect, and then there's some data that helps us make decisions like any other career. But I think you got to get over that initial hesitation, and then it's a lot of fun.
Anybody that's graduated from an organization, a school, a college, whatever, has been, for lack of a better term, hit up by the school, right? And, when I'm doing well, of course I'll donate. When I'm not, I can't. So point being is that y'all, it's the lifeblood of any school.
Absolutely.
Is getting the donations from people. And whether you be a grad or just somebody that admires the school, or maybe you grew up cheering for them.
Yeah.
And I know Tulane is very good at doing this. And they have a very good alumni base. Yeah. They really do.
Incredible.
So you do this all year round, but y'all have something coming up this week. And I'm interested because we talked about it briefly, and you said something that struck me, because a lot of us, whether those times you're not doing as well, and you're not, maybe you gave a bigger number before, but you don't, you feel intimidated, like, hey, I feel small now, I can't do it.
Right.
So you just ignore the call.
Yeah.
But what do y'all do?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Great segue. So this Wednesday, April 10th, and Thursday, April 11th is Tulane University's
Which is tomorrow and next day.
Yes, Wednesday and Thursday of this week is Give Green is what it's called. It's Tulane's Day of Giving, and it is an organized campaign to try to get exactly what you just said, as many people to make gifts back to Tulane University as possible.
Wow.
What matters most on Give Green is not the size of the gift, right? We don't care if you can give $100,000 or not. That's not what matters on Give Green, on our Day of Giving. What matters is you raising your hand and saying, yes, Tulane matters to me. Tulane athletics matters to me. I want to support the institution. I want to support the cause. I'm going to take 5 minutes of my time. I'm going to go onto the website, givegreen.tulane.edu.
And no gift is too small.
That's precisely right. I'm going to make a gift, right? And I'm going to make a gift of $10 or $50, or certainly we'd love if you choose to give more. If you're able to give more, we certainly would encourage that. But that's not what tomorrow is about. Right? Tomorrow is about participation, and you have an opportunity to say, hey, this place matters to me. I want to make a difference. And I think one of the things that I mentioned to you is what we celebrate isn't any one individual gift. It is the collective impact of what happens when all of these people, hundreds, thousands of people around the world, come together and make a gift of whatever size. That adds up. Tomorrow we'll raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for our department, millions of dollars for the university. University.
Right.
Together, that makes an incredible impact.
I love the way you said that, Justin, because it's not like we all want the amount of dollars. Of course, if you're rich, but you want everybody to feel involved.
That's right.
And if you could give 50 or 100,
it adds up.
I mean, it's all everybody feeling they're part of it. You know what I mean?
That's precisely right. That's exactly right. And so, as well on Give Green, there's a couple different challenges and matches and things going on to incentivize participation. All of those are based on donor count, right? So let me explain. We have in the athletic department a challenge going on tomorrow. When we hit 402 donors, then we will unlock a $10,000 challenge gift. It's not about how much money we raise, it's about how many people make a gift.
How do people do it?
So the easiest way is to go onto the website, like I mentioned, givegreen.tulane.edu. That's the easiest way for most people.
And it starts tomorrow, like if you're watching this Tuesday when it's live.
So it starts Wednesday evening at 6:34 p.m.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 1834 military time, the year Tulane was founded.
No, that's big. I like that. That's really
creative.
1834, if you're in the military, you know what I'm talking about, 634.
That's right. So it starts Wednesday, April 10th, 6:34. It's all day Thursday.
And all day Thursday. Well, if you have any love for Tulane, particularly if you went there, but hey, a lot of us didn't go there, we just grew up liking them, or even if you just admire them as, hey, they all need help. So help them out tomorrow. Give Green.
Give Green.
Mean Green is the North Texas team.
That's right. Yeah. No. They have their own giving day. Tomorrow is all about Tulane. It's all about the Green Wave, and we hope you'll support.
One more time at the website.
Yeah. givegreen.tulane.edu. Let me also give our phone number. That might be the most helpful. The Green Wave Club phone number, 504-865-5356. If you call it,
say it one more time. You know we do.
504-865-5356. You call it, you'll get a member of our staff, and we'd be happy to help.
Justin, I look forward to seeing your future, and I remember the little guys when you get to the top, all right?
I appreciate that.
Hey, by the way, this is a new color that Task came out. I know it's not exactly your green, but it's green enough.
It's sharp. And I'll also say Task, Al Andrews, the founder of Task, a Tulane basketball letter winner.
He's the last all-SEC player.
Yeah, it's incredible. Rest in peace. He was also an amazing man. So this is a cool gift.
Certainly was. And he's one of my favorite guys, and I talk about Al a lot on this show, too, and I had him on to talk about his career. He averaged 19 point something. He
was incredible.
Yeah, and you look at him, it's like nobody believes I played, but I'm like, but the thing is, Al more so, because this guy was a true legend.
Yeah,
you know?
and what we do, he stayed involved. He gave back to the program. He gave back to Tulane. He was around. We miss him very much.
And his son Todd is running it well. So hey,
they're great.
We also have Desi Vega. You know Desi Vega Steakhouse. Well, this is his other restaurant that uptown, closer to Tulane, called Mr. John's Steakhouse.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I know a lot of Tulane events are over there, thanks to Michael Ratt and guys like that, because I've stepped in on them. When Willie won his 280th game or whatever, they had something. I was over there too. So hey, support the Wave and support all the local teams. I've had a lot of UNO presence on this show lately. A lot of LSU, of course. But to support your colleges, go out, and if nothing else, I'm going to the Tulane UNO game tonight, because this show, as you know, is taped the same day. But let's be real, it's light outside. It's not right now. So in 4 hours, 5 hours, I'll be at the Tulane UNO
I'll see you there.
Game.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Good.
Hey, coming up next, speaking of that, I have a guy that's playing in that game. That's right. He's got a game. He's the three-hole hitter. He plays second base. His name's Connor Rasmussen, and he's doing unbelievable things. He's a South Carolina native who played at East Carolina last year when LSU shocked the world and beat them in that AAC championship game. And he decided to come join the good guys down here in New Orleans. Better food. Not saying anything. I love East Carolina's campus, but it's a little nicer down here. He's next right here on Primetime Sports. Welcome back to Primetime Sports. Man, until I had Justin, it's been a month since I did Tulane stuff. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but they've been so good about giving me access, because they're right around the corner basically from here. UNO, I've put a focus on them the last couple of weeks. Of course, Pelicans and Saints, we're always going to talk about them, and the LSU Tigers, of course. But I love having the Green Wave over here as well, just like I love having the Privateer stuff. But like I said, until Justin, it's been a month. But we're not going to make you wait another month or even another show. We're going right back at it, because we have the second baseman who bats in the three-hole. And I think about that three-hole position when you're batting is one of your power guys. And the only guy I can think of, it's two of them that come to mind. If you're old like me, you remember Joe Morgan at the greatest team of all time, in my opinion, the mid-'70s Big Red Machine that won 2 straight World Series. He was a three-hole hitter. And then Jeff Kent, who played for the San Francisco Giants and among others. He was that way. So you don't see a lot of second basemen. Carlos Baergo's a big hitter, but I love a guy that can hit the 3-hole. He's first weekend here. Connor Rasmussen is my guest, and he came from East Carolina. If you don't know, ask somebody. That's a powerhouse in college baseball generally. But they came in his first weekend. They split the first 2 games with Northwestern, not the one up in Natchitoches, the real one. No offense, Bobby Hebert, but the one that's in the Big Ten up there in Evanston, right outside Chicago, Illinois. So this is a Big Ten team, and they're down in the last inning. My man here hits a grand slam in his first weekend wearing the green. And there he is, Connor Rasmussen. He hasn't slowed down yet, batting around 320. Yes, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to New Orleans.
Yeah, this place is awesome. So.
Tell me real quick, what made you come? I mean, what made you saw it, by the way, your last game before you got to the NCAA tournament was losing to a very surprise WAVE team, right?
Yes,
they had a
was.
losing record in Coach Jay Ullman's first year. He had a lot of new players, but they got it together and won that tournament. So what did you see in them to make you want to be a part of it?
You know, I think their tournament run that they went on last year really says a lot about the guys that they had on the team last year.
Right.
And those guys that have stuck around and are kind of an older guy presence in the locker room. And it just says a lot for them to go through what they went through in the regular season last year, to get it together, to play really good baseball when it mattered ultimately, and ultimately make a regional.
I mean, they made the tournament, man,
Yeah,
and then you know it's an automatic bid, and they have good teams in the conference. I mean,
Yes,
your
they do.
team was the favorite, and they got to the finals and won that game. I'll never forget. I was so happy for everybody involved in the program. I'd had the big picture, Carmoujon, you know, the show plus Jay, of course, and the old regime. And I was just so happy to see some success.
Yeah.
And you saw maybe a camaraderie that they had that you wanted to be a part of?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not easy. College baseball, winning college baseball games is not an easy thing to do. And for them to go through what they went through, I know they had a really tough conference record going into that week, but ultimately played well when it mattered, and ultimately got to a regional, which is every college.
And they
baseball
played
program
LSU better than anybody else until the World Series.
They had a chance to win that ball game.
It was tied late.
It was, and for me, kind of seeing that, like on the outside looking in, because last year at ECU, we went to a regional, we went to University of Virginia, and I remember kind of keeping track of Tulane because it was, I mean, we just wanted to see how our conference kind of went up, and especially them going against LSU, who was last year the #1 team in the country for most of the season.
Almost all year, and the World Series champion.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, we saw they had Paul Skeens going, and for them to throw Paul Skeens against Tulane, who had 19 wins, kind of says a lot about how they played in that last week. So.
I mean, it is remarkable, and I was hoping that they would bring the same kind of passion, and they did. They just were outmatched in that game, but they played them tough. And honestly, no one in the regional nor super regional played them even close. It took till they got later in the World Series, of course, the games against Wake Forest and Florida. But that said, you're in New Orleans now. Have you gotten any delicacies and food? I mean, delicacies from New Orleans. What's your favorite thing have you eaten that you never had before you got here?
So I've actually had crawfish a couple times before I got here.
It better not just be surprisingly. That's what we eat for breakfast around here.
I love it. My personal favorite though is probably I just like a shrimp po' boy.
Yes,
they're awesome. So
I agree. Where do you get them? I'm gonna give them a free plug, whoever it is.
I believe it's Katie's.
Katie's.
Yes.
Well, Katie's is a good friend. The guy who owns Katie's, a big UNO guy, but he loves Tulane as well. And I love him. I play Words with Friends with him every night. Scott Craig. What a good guy. So you got something on your shirt. I'd be remiss not if I asked about it, because I know that's not you. You wear number 8. I did enough research on that. That's not 45.
This is 45.
Okay, so what is it?
This is Brock Slayton. He's one of our outfielders.
So this is a teammate.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I love the camaraderie. Talk about why you have it.
I mean, he's one of my good friends on the team, and
did you make it for him? Or
I did not. No, I think he had some company make it for him, and he posted on his social media, and I saw it, thought it was a cool shirt, and ended up buying it. And so I figured I'd rep it.
What's
today.
the bottom say? It says on Threads or something?
I think it's the company that.
Oh, it's the Threads. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So Brock Slayton, you got your plug, man. This is your night. You better hit a big hit to win the game or something. Let's talk about your team. Let's talk about your coach. What do you love about Jay Ullman?
Yeah.
And you can say what you don't like about him either. I mean, hey, Jay, it's an open season.
Yeah. No. I mean, I love playing for Jay. He'll do anything for his players, and always has his players back, which is really cool to see.
He does.
He does, and it's awesome. And the coaching staff in general, just with Coach Bridgman, Coach Brittle, Coach Izio.
Okay.
I mean, they make it really easy to play for them, and they're always going to have their players' best interest in mind, which I love.
Well, we have a thing that you won the game, and I have a box score with your picture in it with your number. And when y'all won that game, 12-9, I believe it was, against Northwestern in the first series of the season. And tell me about the thrill. I mentioned it earlier. This is back when you were
in high school.
That's high school right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we have a shot of you with the score on it. It's a graphic. But the fact is when you won the first game of the series, I believe.
No, we lost.
You lost but you won the
night.
Saturday game.
Yes,
right?
correct.
And then you had the rubber match, and they were winning. And you take it from there on how you won the game.
So, I mean, we had.
There it is.
I believe it was the 8th inning. We had. I mean, it was a big inning for
what
us.
What was the score before the inning?
I don't believe. I know we were down.
I think it was like 9-2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, I know we were down.
Right.
But we. A lot of guys in front of me were able to get on base. There was a lot of walks beforehand.
Right.
And I just remember before going into that bat, they took a pitcher's meeting, and I figured, I was like, all right, he's struggling to find the strike zone right now. It's a good chance for a fastball, and first pitch he threw it kind of right where I liked it, and I was able to hit it in the air to right field. So.
I love what you said. Okay, say this again, because you look for all the little things, right?
Yeah.
Because they did the pitcher mound meeting, which we've all seen, the catcher usually sometimes goes up there, sometimes just the pitcher and the coach.
Yeah.
And he was struggling to find, the strike zone.
Yeah, I think it was 3 straight walks before I got to the plate.
Okay, so this is before the at bat, not in the middle of it.
So it was after, I believe it was Colin Tuft walked.
So
it was after his at bat when I was going to the plate. Their coach went out.
So this time, are you down 1? Because
I believe so.
Yeah, 9-8, right? Because
yes.
you won 12-9.
Yeah.
You hit a grand slam to win a game in your first weekend in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It can't get any better than that. It's not just a home run; it's a grand slam.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really get much better than that. Kind of for me, I didn't really play a whole lot last year, so that was really my first taste of being an everyday player in college baseball. And so, I mean, it was awesome for us to get that series win, get the season going on the right foot.
So what's your favorite part about, we talked about the city in a bit again, but about being on this team? On this team?
Honestly, I just think it's like the relationships with the guys that we have. We have a very tight locker room. Everybody is friends with everybody. Everybody hangs out with each other. And so it's not like that most places, and I think that's really cool to see.
Well, that's a good segue to what I'm going to say, because like I said, I do a little more research than some.
Yeah.
And I heard that you were the king of karaoke. and so I want you to explain that. I think you opened up people's eyes because you're new to the team relatively, right? And then you kind of ran the karaoke on a bus ride back at night one time.
I did, yeah.
So I'm going to take it over and let you talk about it.
So I took this we did this at ECU last year. It was for all the freshmen and all the newcomers there.
Right. I love this, by the way. This is
what
great.
it is, I mean, you get up in front of the bus, in front of everybody.
You're on the bus driving back. Right.
So we were going to UL for this.
Okay,
and,
Lafayette.
Yeah, and so I had sent a message out to all the freshmen saying, hey, like, when we get on the highway, get ready. And so I kind of got up there.
Can I say, if I was a freshman, what I'd say to you? I said, you're as new as I am to this team. You're getting up there, right? Because you're a transfer. They're freshmen, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all new guys. We have a bunch of new guys.
But I love that you did this. All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it kind of introduces the freshmen because, I mean, they're new to college, and so it kind of opens up their eyes to.
So who picks the music? Do they get to pick their own song?
They get to pick their own song. Okay. They get up in front of everybody. They have like the microphone that's on the bus.
The bus is moving too, right?
Yes,
it's on the way, right? Okay.
Correct. And so we give them headphones, so they can't. All they hear is the song. They cannot hear what they sound like.
Oh my God! So it's like that.
They can't hear what people are saying, and so rough. So all we hear on the bus is them singing, and it's really fun because some guys.
I gotta try that sometime. That's great.
Some guys really buy into it and do a really good job and have a really good performance, but the other guys that kind of don't try as hard, it shows big time. So.
Well, having the thing where you can't hear it, because we can always pretend like we know the words because you can mumble something with the music on.
Yeah.
That's a twist I've never heard before, and I love it. Who was the best?
So I believe our winner was a freshman pitcher, Jack Boussard.
Okay.
He.
What was his song? Do you remember anything about it?
He sang "Careless Whisperer." Yes.
Okay, he's a lover. Okay, he picked it himself.
He did. And
George Michael in the house.
Yeah, put on a really good performance. So it was really cool to see.
I wish I had video of that. No, that sounds like a great idea. What great for camaraderie, because everybody's having fun with it, right?
Yeah.
And there you are playing a little infield, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Unless you're a sideline pitcher like Kit Jacoby back in the Pirates in '79. Yeah. No, but you got the grand slam. You're also a guy that just sprays the ball. You can hit the ball.
Correct.
So talk about if I was, let's just say for fun, I was an agent, or no, better yet, a scout, and you wanted somebody to talk, maybe the agent to talk about you.
Yeah.
But you're the guy talking about yourself, so don't be bashful.
Okay.
Tell us what makes you a good player.
I mean, what makes me a good player is I'm really consistent. I feel like I have an approach that I can take to every game and be able to have success in every game.
Yeah.
So you kind of know what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to play really good defense at second base or wherever I am in the infield. But ultimately, I'm a team guy. I'll do whatever the team needs for me to win that game.
When's the first time you heard Tulane? Because you're from South Carolina, a small town.
Yeah.
When did Tulane come? Did you know about Tulane at all in high school? Because most people that I've asked, if they're honest, they haven't. It's like the guys, the football players up from Oregon and you know, South Florida, right?
Yeah. So really the only time I'd heard about Tulane was on the like the NCAA football video game. I would always do like the Road to Glory.
Yes, right.
And I would always choose like schools that I've never heard of. And I just remember I chose Tulane one time, ended up winning like 3 Heisman trophies or something.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Roll wave,
Yeah.
Tajay Spears in the house. So now, when you saw them play, I mean, let me say this: was it really, honestly, the first time? Because this was what Mario Williams, the receiver, he played at both USC and Oklahoma his freshman year.
Yeah.
Tulane played Oklahoma during that hurricane year.
Yeah.
He said that's the first time I even knew what Tulane was. And he's not from California. Florida's not that far away.
Yeah.
And so when you played them in baseball, you're in the same conference, obviously. Is that one of the first times?
Yes, that was. I kind of got familiar with them in the regular season. We played a 3-game series in Greenville last year.
Right,
and
right.
then playing them again in the conference championship game. That's really how I was introduced to Tulane.
So South Carolina, who'd you like growing up?
The Gamecocks.
Yeah.
Gamecocks through and through. So
they won they won a World Series at least.
Won 2 of them.
Two of them. That's what I thought. Were they back to back?
They were 10 and 11. So I grew up a diehard South Carolina fan. My whole family went there. My brother actually plays football there now. So still a Gamecock.
Well, the guy that owns Desi Vega and Mr. Johns is Desi Vega, and he played baseball at LSU. I mean Tulane.
Okay, yeah.
And you got to get to his restaurant. But I'm gonna give you this other one for a reason, because it's walking distance from campus.
Yeah, awesome.
It's on Maple. I gave it Mr. Johns, and sometimes I give 2 or 3 on the show. But you know, I'll give you one of those another time when you come. But here, you can go there. It's on Maple Street by Starbucks, in between Carrollton and Broadway. But here's the thing, man. Have you had Task yet?
I have not.
Feel it. Okay, I say this a lot, but once you put that on, you're going to throw away you're going to throw rocks at, in fact, your Under Armour and Dry Fit, because I put that on first time 12 years ago, and I've never stopped wearing it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I love that they're part of the show. Todd Andrews, who, you know, we talked about Al passing away. Todd's running now, doing such a good job.
Yes,
hey,
sir. Roll
Wave, I will be at the game night.
Sounds
if you're
good.
watching this live tonight, which is, we call it live to tape, then we're going to be at the game. But we taped this a few hours before, but we'll see you next week, and I cannot wait. We have so many good things coming. Brian Kelly from LSU, Kim Mulkey's going to be coming on, and we got so many others. So stay tuned next week right here on Primetime Sports.
Sir, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hi, this is Peter Finney, and this is your Clarion Herald Minute. The August 2nd issue reports on all aspects of the National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis, which attracted 50,000 Catholics. We've got stories on the keynote addresses, as well as a personal story from Melanie and Jules Saunay of Destrehan, who took all 7 of their children to the revival. Also, check out 3 Clarion Herald videos on the Congress at clarionherald.org. One of the videos highlights parishioners of St. Peter in Reserve and St. Joan of Arc in Laplace who made it to the revival by bus. Our Back to School section looks at how parents are managing their shopping adventures for school supplies, and a stunning restoration of a statue of Mary by Mount Carmel Academy volunteers. The Loyola Institute for Ministry has launched a multi-series podcast on flourishing sisterhood, in which religious sisters in the Gulf South share their vocational and ministerial stories. Pick up the Clarion Herald at church this weekend, or check out our e-edition at clarionherald.org.
Saturdays at 11 p.m. You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television.
Hello, I'm Lisa Flood.
And I'm Jason Gillette, and welcome to Faith and Marriage Today.
Jason and I are so excited today. We feel like we are pumped up. It's almost game day. We are on location at Christ the King at LSU, and we are so honored to be joined by Father Matthew Dunn, pastor of Christ the King, and Patrick Tolles. And Patrick, tell us your title here.
Yeah, I'm the development director. So here at Christ the King, you know, I'm the guy that goes outside of Christ the King to make sure we have enough money to run Christ the King.
Well, I'm here to tell you, for me as an alum of LSU and as a Tiger mom of 2 sons, Jason, you're a Tiger parent.
Tiger dad of 1 and now 2 next year, so praise God.
Praise Jesus.
I can tell you what I have seen through the years at this place, Jesus Christ